Hi everybody, it's Deanna with toolsofernergyprotection.com, your energy shift expert, where I teach spiritually gifted and spiritually sensitive people how to shield their energy and live a life that's happier and more full. So I'd like to give everybody a chance to get on tonight. And so while we're waiting, I'm going to let you know that coming up in September, I'm going to be at the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo, the celebration fair. And in the BMS celebration fair, that's going to be at the Denver Merchandise Mart in Denver. And if you want to come on down and join us, we'll be there for 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'll be there all of those days. And I'll be giving a special talk, which I'll talk more about later. So right now, what's going on in our planet is a lot of different energy shift, just a huge amount of energy shifts that are happening and taking place in our planet. And I'm going to look and see, let's see here. I'm going to get over to, over here to make sure I can see questions on my laptop because I can't always see them here on the broadcast. But anyway, we want to talk about what's going on in our planet right now on the energy shifts. There are just so many different energies, different frequencies that are happening. Many things are taking place at the same time. A lot of you have been contacting me in freak out mode, high levels of anxiety, high levels of stress, topsy-turvy. Some of you have told me that you feel like you're inside of a dryer and you're just going round and round and round and you can't get any footing at all. And you're having emotional blow-ups, and sometimes they get aimed at the people that they're not meant to be aimed at. And sometimes we hold it within and get more anxiety and stress. So that's what I'm talking about tonight. And I am broadcasting from home because my office is a little bit warm tonight. It's like 85 degrees in there, which is kind of hard to talk to you all, and the studio and the lights. So we're going to do a little homebound heart-to-heart tonight. I'd like to say hi to Tanya and hi to Susie. I'm glad that you took the time to join me. So if you haven't gotten pen and paper, as you know, when you show up to these, I like to share things that maybe you want to write down, and if not, you can catch it on the replay. But what's happening on our planet right now is these energies are shifting so fast and furious. We're in between eclipses, and we're having different planets that are basically pulling and squeezing us like taffy and keeping us on the run. And so in that, it is time to really have a relationship with yourself. There's been times we've been told to work on ourselves. I think last year we were working on that and looking at the different aspects of things going on. But this is truly a time to have a relationship with you and you. It is the issues that are coming up right now, the emotional feelings that you're having, the anxiety, the feeling like you can't get yourself uprighted, being stressed out and then looking back the next day going, why was I so stressed out? That is part of digging really deeply inside who we are and having a relationship with ourselves. And many of us didn't have very good childhoods. Many of us were told we were bad, or we told we were wrong, or some of us that were really creative and expressive and had parents that couldn't handle all that energy, we were told to sit down and shut up. Right? And we're like, but, you know. So in a way, with being an expressive, child and really kind of out there and having all this energy and being told to sit down and shut up and, maybe put a frilly dress on or, dress really nice, sit on the edge of the couch, that kind of thing, don't bother anybody. We took that in. And we took it in very deeply into the back of our subconscious mind, and a lot of us don't remember that. Because if I asked you, like I did a client today, what happened when we were 2 years old? She says, I don't remember when I was 2. Well, I don't remember either. But there are other parts of our life that some people remember and some people don't. But for some of us, there's a black period in there where we don't remember anything. And those are the times when generally we were being attacked or told we were bad or wrong, or our actions were bad or wrong, or you got to fit in this box as according to that box, or, you know, you really can't be an artist because there's no money in it. I remember hearing that one. You know, you've got to do this because at least you'll make money at this. And our parents, God love them, were trying to instill values in us from a time period on this planet around the 1920s and 30s where there was a lot of famine going on. There was a big depression and nobody had any money. And so there was fear. And you saved things. Those of you who had parents that were hoarders, or if you struggle with hoarding, that's another thing. You know, my grandmother used to take pie tins, and she would take those pie tins and she would stack them up and a certain number of them, and then put a piece of paper on there what day she washed them, put them in a bag, you know, so that they were neat and clean and stacked, because she didn't know when she was going to get more tin pans, and if you had to make a pie, you had to have a pan. And there was nothing wrong with that in her time. But it became a habit, and that habit became instilled in the DNA in her body. And that DNA created the next generation. And the DNA vibrated in that body and was also instilled in our minds, so we got a double dose of it. And then on and on and on, it got passed down through the generations. So there was lack and fear, and, you know, rightfully so in their time. But there's always enough. I want you to know that God's Spirit Source can provide for us always, and there's always enough. It's a matter of allowing ourselves to participate in that existence. It is that simple. Okay? So what I'm talking about, what's happening in these frequencies, are things that are so deep-seated inside of us that we don't either remember or we don't know they're coded in our DNA or our genes. And if you look back at the family dynamic, you might see it. Some of us don't always know all of our family dynamic. But what's happening is that it's pressuring our brains, which is wired with neuroplasticity, you know, of the different mapping of the brain. It's taking that part of us, this part up here, right? And in that part of us that's up here in our brain, you know, that's how we're wired, basically. And then there's the heart part of us. The heart part of us is where spirit shines out, where the spirit within us shines out. That's where our love frequency comes out. That's where it comes from. And so if you imagine, our connection to the divine is here. And it comes down and flows, but where does it stop first? In the process of our human mind, the programming we received as children, the things society is telling us now, the things that we replay over and over and over in our mind. I don't know about you, but I've had negative thoughts. On some days they just go over and over, and I feel like people are arguing in my head that I can't control. That's our thought processes, sometimes trying to keep us from what's good, trying to keep us safe, and it just goes over and over and over. And you tell it to shut up and it doesn't shut up. That's normal, because you're working towards a higher level of consciousness. You're working towards loving yourself. You're working towards allowing God, Spirit, or Source to love you. All those things going on at the same time, and the brain that's been wired will often go back to the negative messages to try to lower your vibration to keep you in the spot that you're in. And if you're really pushing forward, you're working on those goals, you're saying all the right things out loud and manifesting away, and you get up to that opportunity, and that opportunity goes boom and falls apart, that's because there's a part of you that's participating in self-sabotage. Sadly, this is also normal, because the program you received from the time you were conceived until the time you were roughly about age 6 or 7, all of the information you sucked in at that time, like a little sponge, got stored in the back, like a computer. Thank you for the hearts and thumbs up. And so it created the neural pathways in our head. And so when your consciousness is thinking about things, it goes back and pulls those files, it pulls those programs. And that's why we keep doing the same thing over and over and over. Hi, Denise. Hi, Susan. Glad to have you join us here. Let me see if there's anybody else I missed. So it's called neuroplasticity. It's a big buzzword everybody's talking about now, but it's true. So if you're working on walking forward right now, hi Susan, in your life, and like, you have a habit that you don't like, and you keep finding yourself saying, oh, I'm not going to do that anymore, I'm not going to do that, and it comes up to the moment and boom, you do it again. That's because of the neural pathways. That's because your subconscious mind is trying to keep you in a comfortable spot even though it's uncomfortable. So the planets that are shifting and growing and the things that are happening with spirit right now, is that it's providing this flux of energy to provide the foundation for us to look at new possibilities. There are so many new possibilities out there. I can't tell you how many I've seen in my own life where I've been going along doing things my way. I know if I just grind enough, I know if I just do this enough, I know if I work harder that I'm going to do this and I'm going to reach more people and I'm going to help more people. You know what? I'm going to wear myself out. Now, faith without works is dead. So yes, you have to take action. You have to make a plan. You've got to move forward. But if you're moving forward like this, you're not seeing anything but what your own will and your own logic tells you to do. It is time to stop, put your head up, open your heart up, so you walk forward like this and not like this, okay? It's time to open your heart up to God and know that your butt is covered. Because there are so many possibilities right now that are swarming like beautiful bees, or butterflies if you prefer, in front of you. And you've seen those opportunities before, but you're like, no, it's my way or the highway. I know if I just do this and I stay focused here, that I'm going to get what I deserve. I'm going to make it. I'm going to get to the top if I just white knuckle it. Good luck with that. Determination, willpower, making plans, setting goals, and working on goals are all great, but you have to allow Spirit, God, or Source to step in there and help you, because you can either help yourself and wear your little self out, or you can accept the help of God, Spirit, Source. And I think it's way more valuable, it's way more productive to allow the help. And you know what? It takes courage to accept help. I know there's been some things in the last few weeks that have appeared in my life that said, let me help you. There's some people that have stepped forward and said, let me help you. And I'm so stubborn, I didn't want the help. I know I can stand on my own 2 feet without the help. But that's hard, and it's going to wear me out. And God's Spirit or Source is so loving that when we ask and we open our hearts, the help is sent. It's up to us to recognize it and have the courage to open up to it. Right now, I've got people that are waiting to help me, that are standing in line to help me with just different little things, like maybe mowing the lawn, or helping my daughter with a project, or, not really, but like doing the dishes. It's simple little things. But those things take time, those things take attention, those things take energy. And when someone comes along and removes that from me, it gives me more energy to do the things I like to do. And so I'm now, this week, opening up to help. It's so super scary because I've been so independent for so long. And allowing someone to come in and help, I've got to allow that new energy in, process it, and be humble and grateful, which I already am humble and grateful. But by doing that, it relieves the pressure off of me, and God's Spirit or Source can bring me to a different position to put out more ways for you to connect to loving yourself. And that's the ideal outcome. All right. Hi, Candace. Hi, Hannah. Thank you for joining. If there's any questions, put them below. But basically what I'm talking about is how things are shifting in the universe right now, and how we're being asked to come out of our logical minds and ways of thinking to solve issues down into our hearts. Because our hearts are ultimately what will guide us around on this planet. And for too many of us, for so long, we've been guarded in our heart. We've had poop put on there. One person I looked at, and I could see their heart energy, and it looked like they had tar. If you've ever seen tar on the beach or the side of the road, if you're in Texas, a hot tar on the roads, over their heart. And it was all the things they'd experienced in this life that kept just boom, 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 covering up their heart, because every time they did something they thought was loving or nurturing, they got slapped in the face by the other person, told they were bad or wrong, or weren't allowed to succeed. Hello, Anna. So if you're not being allowed to succeed in your current circumstance because you've been grinding the same old grind, get over yourself. Ask God, Spirit, or Source for the help. When the help comes, accept it. Be wise in your acceptance, but accept it. This is the time. I can't say that enough, and I see it in my own life. I know you're seeing it in yours too. It's time to move forward with the love, with the support. Get out of your logical brain's way and let your heart open up. Bottom line. All right, are there any questions? Oh yes, my guidance was reminding me, when you don't do this, that's what causes the turmoil, because your heart's going open, 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 and your logic's like, no, no, no. You know? All right, let me see if there's any questions. Okay, right now I don't see any questions, and so I'm going to add to the end of the broadcast unless I see any other questions. I want to talk a little bit about today about some of the other work that I do that doesn't get publicized much. Oh, wait, here's a question. Tanya says, for example, is feeling all around better than before the butterflies you referred to? Let's see here. Even if I'm not exactly coherent of his blessings per se, it can be. Feeling better. Yeah, if you're feeling better, sometimes the butterflies will be kind of like a tingling sensation. As long as it's not something in your gut instinct that's like a danger signal, then I would imagine so, because I get cold chills or I get feeling bubbles, you know, inside of me. I hope that answers your question. But if you're feeling better, that generally speaking, walking forward, that's a blessing. Anything that makes you feel better is a blessing, and within limits, you know. The old saying, if it feels good, do it. You know. There's got to be some wisdom in there. Anyway, bringing forward, if there's more questions, please post them. But the other thing I wanted to share very briefly that I don't share very often, but I was reminded this week a couple of times, you're welcome, to share it. So here it goes. So when one of the things that I do is I connect in with people's energies that have attachments. So if you are a person that is a doctor, or you're a person who's a nurse or an EMT, or even a soldier of war, anytime that you're around people that are highly distressed or sick or not feeling well, they will energetically cord into you. This is normal because we all do it. It's kind of that hive mentality. And so if one person's strong, one person's weak, the weak one will cord into the strong one to try to upright themselves. And, you know, with an exception of certain personality types, people don't generally do it on purpose. So there's a way to cut your cords and take your power back that I can teach you to help you with that if you're a nurse or a doctor, or somebody is in public service, often customer service reps that are getting bombarded like that all day long. But the deeper clearing that I like to do is to work with people that have been in war, soldiers or people with post-traumatic stress disorder. And I don't often get the opportunity to work with them because of their brotherhood and trust and stuff. But I want to tell you about one young man that came to see me a number of years ago at a holistic fair. And he had no idea that about what I did. And he was just looking for some healing and, you know, hoping to find something that wasn't in the box, so to speak. And he found me. And he sat down and he began to talk to me, and instantly his guidance told me that he had been in Iraq and that he'd seen some things that aren't pleasant to talk about, and several people died, including his comrades. And so in that moment, the guys that are in the military will take an oath of basically no man left behind. It's longer than that, quite a beautiful oath. I've heard it at a ceremony now, but very extensive about what they're agreeing to do and who they are to each other. So that guy didn't pass away that day, but the ones around him did. So it's an energetic cord to him for no man left behind. And so he had spiritual attachments of that kind from the war. Not something normal, everyday people talk about. But when he came back to the States, he still had the attachments of those people that had passed. And it caused him to have a lot of issues, one of which carries the title post-traumatic stress disorder, which has a lot more to it than that, just that. But that's one of the symptoms of it, one of the attributes, I could say, of it. And so when he sat down with me, we called on the Holy Spirit to come and take those beautiful beings that had passed and send them back to the right and proper place in love, or to the other side, if you will, back to God, Spirit, Source. And once that happened, it lightened his energy so much that he could actually feel the difference. And to me, that's one of the biggest rewards and blessings of the job I do, is to be able to free people both in body and out so that they can go on and live a happier, healthier life. And like I said, I don't share that too often, but I felt moved to share it tonight because I just know somewhere out there, there is somebody who's suffering in that way. And if you are, I do ask that you would reach out to me. You know, I know it's a brotherhood. I know there's a trust factor there. So, you know, if you would, do contact me. Let me know. Either that or come to the Celebration Fair, Mind, Body, Spirit Celebration Expo in September, and then you'll get a chance to meet me that way. But anyway, that's it. So, you're welcome, Susan. But that's what's happening, getting back to the normalcy of the abnormal of what's happening now. It's basically energies are supporting you to get out of your head, get into your heart, and in that there's an agitation. So pray a lot, talk to God, Spirit, or Source a lot, ask for the help, watch for it to come. It's almost coming so instantaneously, it's not even funny. I know things have come into my life so quickly, just almost so fast I can't keep up with them. So that's it. And I don't see any more questions. I will double check on the internet. Big hugs and kisses to you, Susie. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you joining me live in my kitchen. Big heart, Denise. Like I said, my office has not had air conditioning in a while. It's 85 degrees. They're working on it. So I thought I'd bring you home with me and transmit from my table, my personal dinner table, and just be with you a little bit more personal. So anyways, have a great and wonderful night. Big hugs and kisses to you all. If you're ever down in the Denver or Lakewood area, come by the For Heaven's Sakes bookstore. Let me know you saw Facebook. Give me a big hug, and we'll just show you everything that we can in the store that could help you moving forward. Have a great and wonderful night. Bye-bye.